Well, guys, Steve, I don't know where he went. He's away from the camera right now, but it appears he's coming back. He's killing me. Uh, what are you doing over there?
It's cold, so cold.
Hey, if you hurry up and get that mini split put in that shop, you won't have to worry about it.
Yeah. Got to get my heater hook back up in here.
Yeah. Well, luckily, it's just now starting to cool off down here. So it's been pretty nice. I actually had the door open most of the day today, just letting some air flow through because it was like that comfortable temperature, you know. But then about dark, it was time to shut the door.
Yeah, no. I think it peaked above freezing here today, but we had like 20-mile-an-hour winds, and they're saying the wind chill was in the single digits.
Yeah. So, I think it's supposed to hit 32 tonight before midnight. After that, it's supposed to be in the 20s, I think.
All you Florida people, watch out for falling iguanas.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. I was like, I never really thought about it, but I mean, that's a real concern when you're driving around.
Yep.
All right. So how was everybody? I see there's lots of folks been in here communicating back and forth. Little chat going on. I ain't seen a whole lot of new stuff, questions, or anything to talk about. But I know you've got some adventures other than the weather's finally starting to catch up with you up there. I know you've got some new stuff going on. So how has everything been going with your testing that you've been doing? Hashtag Steve gets all the cool boys.
Well, we both got the F2, and we both watched those videos this week. And so that's been kind of fun. I wasn't sure how much of an improvement I was going to see, on the, 10 to 15 watts on the blue, and then the 2 to the 5. But actually, so I did some side-by-side testing on that on a couple of the shorts and then in the video, and it actually, you can gain some efficiency out of that and some productivity. So definitely something that if you are busy on site and looking to improve your efficiency, adding one of these for a little more speed and or doubling up would definitely be it. But, it's still for me is very much a portable laser. Or, if you just have a real small workspace and want something enclosed, have a nice benchtop smoke purifier with it, sure. But it's kind of, that's its thing, real on the go portable engraving. So
yeah, anytime they put a metal handle on something, they kind of intend you to be able to pick it up and carry it around with you.
Yeah, and that's one I feel a lot more comfortable moving that one around than some of the others. It doesn't come apart. It's pretty solid. It's not a leather or twine strap.
Yeah, I mean, now with that said, though, it does come at a bit more cost than some of the others. I've had a lot of people asking me, saying, well, does it beat the Lumos now? And I'm be honest with you, I never really considered the Lumos to be like beating my F1 at many things. The only thing that I would say that the Lumos did do better than the F1 did was the way that they had it to where their chuck would secure to that little plate. That was a plus. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get that with the F2. I mean, but I haven't got the new chuck either. So maybe there is something that I haven't seen. I watched the launch and I didn't see it. But then again, X-Tool is notorious for sometimes in their launch, they just kind of throw things together. So maybe there is something that we're missing. But if not, I've got a cure for it anyway.
Yeah. Well, I need to try it with. I did get the RA3 with the
that's
P3.
right, you did, didn't you?
So I haven't seen, and I haven't even tested on the P3 yet either. So I need to do some testing with that rotary on both. Cause yeah, I think adding that tilt function, and if it locks in there somehow, but that gets solved by
Yeah.
everybody with 3D printing jigs and such. That's what I did with the original one. Is I printed up a little jig that the rotary would lock into, and so. But yeah, that's a very cool upgrade. Exciting to see that. See more to do. I know you played a little bit with the curved surface stuff.
Yeah, I played around with it just because I was curious as to how it worked, and I still don't know exactly. But from looking at what I saw in the process, it has to be using either that camera has the ability to perceive the depth, or it has the laser that it uses for autofocus. I think what it's doing is it's using that laser as a measuring instrument and mapping it that way. Because when you do the mapping and then you look at it, the curvature of the mapped image that it pulled up in the software was pretty consistent with what the ball looked like. So it's doing a decent job. Now it did give me some warnings saying that it wasn't a smooth surface and that it might be, some variations or whatever, but it did a pretty good job. I was a little shocked because I'm usually very pessimistic about the smart features, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it and see how it works, just so that I can at least speak to whether or not it's a total gimmick or not.
Sure.
But I think that is a usable feature. From what I could tell, the way that it was, you could see the little blue dot move around as if it was pointing a laser, and I don't know if it's reflecting the blue dot back, using it like LiDAR. I don't know exactly what it's doing, but it did do a pretty good job of mapping it out like that.
Yeah. So I hope to play around with that a little bit here. Also trying to get caught up on other things. I have been working with the P3. I got it hooked up to my vent system that I did a video on back with the S1 and the P2. And so I actually have they include the IF2, the inline fan, and it Bluetooths to the laser. Works really well with that, but I wasn't, I didn't want to put another hole in my shop right now. So
Yeah.
I do have it hooked in with some flexible hose to that. And then I kind of have to balance the two, I'll let the IF2 turn on, and then I'll crank up the other one so that it's not fighting each other. But it actually does seem to work pretty well. The way they do the exhausting on there, they have vent up top, but also down below. So it tries to pull more from below. And that IF2 does seem to do a pretty decent job of extraction. I mean, if you got a real heavy smoke job and, you get that well covered in there, you might have some lingering smoke, but for the most part, I've been noticing it's doing pretty well. But I do have it on that kind of flexible hose so that I can pull it out. It's on that mobile cart they have, because the next thing I'm going to do is actually test the conveyor on this one. So going to do that. I did do some jobs with just the flatbed, which is 36 wide and 18 deep. And so this was one of the things I did today. This is a 36-inch wide cutout of a B17 out of some 1/4-inch plywood that I can pick up here at Menards. And I've had trouble with this in the past. It has like an MDF core, but it's a heavier style. And so on some of the other lasers, I've just felt like I've had to go too slow or it doesn't get through. This one's blasting through pretty nice. I'm running at about 19 to 20 millimeters a second, and everything dropped out. Some of it, I had to push it through just because it gets hung up.
Yeah.
But really happy with that. It's cutting cleanly and thoroughly on this. So
Yeah.
I'm playing with that, and I'm going to try to do about a 6-foot long kind of thing with the conveyor. We'll see how that goes. So didn't quite get all that done today with the conveyor, so that'll probably be tomorrow. So hopefully the video on that one midweek for this the initial one. So it'll so far I've been pretty happy with that. I mean, you mentioned the smart features on this one, and that's one of the big kind of, they call it their automated creation system. And so it uses a wide panoramic view to detect material, and then it uses LiDAR to check the height. It automatically lifts the bed up. And then with Xtool, their Xtool Studio, they have a lot of the material settings in there. As a matter of fact, if you get X tool material with the little tag on it, it'll try to scan that and automatically choose it. So when they say it's one of the easier CO2 lasers, I can see where, so far it's actually been working pretty well. As long as you don't try to overthink the machine.
Yeah, sometimes if you're not used to automation will trip you up.
It can, but I've been pretty happy with it. I've been happy with the working area, happy with the power. So we'll see. I'm going to try to run a number of tests, get at least the initial video out, and do some other stuff with it. But
yeah, cool. What's up, Cody? How are you, sir? Everybody, welcome, Mr. Cody from the Jenny Bits Cadence Manufacturing for all your bits and stuff needs. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's anything else going on.
Yeah,
Gillette talking about the clock's changing. Hadn't got used to it. I feel your pain.
My cats, I can't get used to the new time.
Minnesota custom made. Good evening. What's up, Greg?
Oh, my mouse is being weird. Hold on.
Brian, I'm going to tell you, it has been one thing after another, after another, after another here. I don't know if I'll ever get caught up. I got things that I want to do that I need to get done. So it's going to take me a little while, which, November and December are not the months for me to be trying to do stuff around the house and doing stuff out in the yard because that's the busy time for the shack. So I'm kind of stuck in here doing stuff, and maybe during the spring I can get a little more stuff done that I want to do outside. But right now, like I said, Brandy got her a new job, so hallelujah, thank you Jesus for that. That insurance that I was having to pay, luckily for me, just by the grace of God, because that's all it was. Brandy wasn't looking for another job. I wasn't trying to get her to take another job, but she actually got contacted and offered a job, coincidentally working in the same building that I was working in before I retired, working with the city through the mayor's office. And so she's paying for our insurance now. So I don't got to do that no more. So, so that was just like, it was like a whole weight off my shoulders, because now I can hopefully, maybe there might actually be an opportunity for a building fund. So we'll see.
They just knew that she could do your old job better than you.
Well, she didn't get my old job. She's not working for the PD. She's just working for the administrative part of City Hall. But
right, but we're all going to go with that.
Yeah, it worked out. They knew I needed insurance. What it was.
Here's an early question. Sleepy Hollow Woodworks is asking, any experience printing TPU? I tried it today and had problem unwinding. Seems the filament is sticking slightly on the roll, causing feeding problems. Printing on a P1S with external feed, not AMS. So TPU is one of those very, very sensitive to moisture filaments. And even if it's brand new out of the package, you generally want to dry it and then try to keep it in an enclosed container, because even sitting out during the print, if you're not in a fairly dry environment, it's going to absorb that moisture from just the surrounding, and it does get kind of picky. So I think Sunlu has a little clear, you can mount it on top of a little heating unit, but it has rollers in there and has feeders. And so I dry it, and then they put desiccant packs in there, and then I feed straight from that container into my printer, bypassing the AMS and whatnot. And that seems to work pretty well. So I would try to dry it as best you can before printing with it. It is very, very finicky on that.
Yeah, I have no experience to speak from, but I have heard the same things that Steve said. I think I've got some in there, but I do not have a machine that's set up to print it. I bought it before I knew anything about 3D printing, and so yeah. So when I get me a different machine, I might use it. All right, yeah, Tim. I haven't really been doing that many this week. I mean, I've been doing a lot of shorts and stuff. I do those a lot. But yeah, I've got another one that I wanted to do. Matter of fact, I spent last night. I was sitting over here listening to Ryan and everybody, and there was an experiment that I had to try on the Atom Stack C4 that was supposed to fix the issue that it had, and I did not have any success with that. So I spent about however long Ryan's live was last night adjusting voltages to steppers. And if you go to where they tell you to go to, the steppers start surging. And so I backed it back down, and I'm done again. If they want me to continue to mess with that machine, they can send me some steppers and a new controller or whatever, and I'll go from there. But yeah, I tried what they told you to try, Steve, and the stepper will start surging. It's like, and then you back it down to 1.3 volts, and it'll start sounding normal again. But it was already at like 1.25.
The amps.
So, well, yeah. Well, the way that they tell you to do it is the equivalent. Like you register, you look at the voltage, and it tells you what the amperage is supposed to be, or whatever, or whatever the little sheet was. But anyway, I didn't have any luck with that, so I have decided to just wash my hands of that for now. Because I think that the steppers need to be bigger. I've looked around and looked at some of the other machines. I mean, my freaking A70 has bigger steppers on it. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, that's too bad.
Now yours, you may have different look. I would like for you to try it too, but
I'm not. After running all the cleaning and re-oiling multiple times over and breaking it in for hours, it's worked fine on the stock spindle. Now I haven't upgraded the spindle. I don't know what the weight difference is. The problem is there's not a huge difference between a 200 and a 500 watt spindle. So the fact that you have to run the cable through the chain and then you got wires and a module sticking out, I'm not going to do it because it makes that machine less convenient. So it's running okay as is, but I've let it sit for a number of days, and now that it's cooled off, I want to see if I get that issue again. But we'll see,
Well, maybe it works out. But that one's just, I mean, I love the company, but that particular machine is just really, it hasn't been what I was hoping it would be.
Speaking of CNCs, we got a question from Rhino and the Dude. Boys, I'm struggling bad. I got a 6050 and I cannot get my softwares to function. When I go to unzip the files, it asked me to insert the final disk instead of give me the folder browse options. I guess, and you need a little more clarification on what you're trying to, whether it's the application, like I
think he's talking about the USB drive that came with it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see what's in that folder, because I back up copies of those things when I get them.
Yeah. So if it's that, maybe there's a bad image on that file, or I don't know if you've installed a third-party zip utility. Some of those details might help a little bit, but
no, just using just regular compressed zip files. So you should be able to just right-click and extract files.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything, so, unless they've changed it. Like I said, this was created January the 14th of 2024 when I got my 6050. But the only thing I'm seeing in there is a zip file for Candle 1.17, but literally you just right click that and tell it to extract files, and then tell it where you want to extract them to. Candle is not really an installable software per se. It's more or less you just have to drop it in a directory somewhere and it executes from there. So you don't have, there's not like a big install process with it. But that's what I'm not seeing anything weird in the folder that I copied off of the thumb drive, because I always copy the thumb drive over to my computer. So if anybody ever needs the files or whatever, I have them.
So if I mean, if it's the controller software that you're trying to get set up, you may actually just want to skip what's on the USB. You'll need to get the CH340 driver, but you can download that, and then I would go to CNC Labs and get GSender. It's a lot more friendly, and it actually it's an installable application that you can download and then auto detect the CNC off that. That should at least get you going with that one.
Is that screen backwards?
The
screen, is it backwards, upside down or something?
The one you're showing?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it looked like it was upside down and backwards on my view. I don't know why that was. That's new. It may be that update that they were showing.
The other thing is, I was trying to remember if sometimes the companies have.
There's the folders. That's the files that were on the folder that I got. And see, there's the candle. That's after I've unzipped it. But yeah, I would just use GSender with that 6050 if I were doing it over again. It didn't exist back when I had my 6050, but everything I ran everything on GSender since it came out and got updated to work with all GRBL machines.
I'm just trying to check to see. Sometimes they have the downloads on their website. I don't remember if they do there, because that would be the other thing, is just to download a new copy of it. But I don't necessarily see it. So,
yeah. Yeah, the driver should be the only thing. And if you've got lasers already, there's a good chance you've probably already got the driver. That's a very common, that 340.
Let's see. Have I gotten any snow yet? We got some flurries, enough to collect on cold surfaces like cars and, trees that were about ready to drop their leaves. But it warmed up yesterday after that to almost 40, and that was gone. Today it was just cold. So real light flurries, but nothing that, is going to do anything. So, but I'm sure it's coming. We are going to have a little warm up this week, so I'm going to enjoy that. Yeah, Cody, that would be nice to go visit my dad. He's about 78. I should, but that's a long drive.
Yeah.
It's a long, boring half drive. The first half of it is nothing. It's just plains.
Robbie, I haven't lately. Before I retired, trying to work the business and work the job and do family and football season and all that, it was a little rough. I plan to work that in, but again, like I said, November, December are busy months out here. I really don't have time to do a whole lot of nothing. I also would like to go sit, maybe in the woods and stare at some wildlife a little bit, but I don't know that I'm going to have time. Me and Biscuit did go put some corn out if he didn't eat all of it, and reset my camera. But I don't know that we're going to have time because things are just busy. And it stays that way.
That happens. It's partially why I haven't taken off to drive to Arizona to see my dad and Cody again.
Yeah. Now, Biscuit was not he was not very happy about our visitor we have up at the top of the hill up there.
Yeah, coyote or what?
Yeah, it's a little coyote. He does not like coyotes. That's before bush hogging. Of course, they eat up with ticks. Look at the ticks on their ear. And then we got a pit bull, and that's some other stuff. But yeah.
So Sharon's asking, is your file for the polar riser feed on your Etsy shop?
Don't make me lie. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't recall. That's been a minute.
You'll have to look.
Yeah. I get logged in. I cleared all my cookies out. I've been having trouble with YouTube, and I've deleted all the cookies and reset browsers and uninstalled browsers and reinstalled browsers, and course, I contact YouTube and tell them what the problem I'm having, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, that's supposed to do that." And I'm like, "Well, how come it's not done it in the past 3-4 years? Now it's all of a sudden doing it, but yet it's supposed to do it." So,
while you're looking that up, Chuck Peterson's commenting, I just purchased a P1S. When nozzle size, do I change the nozzle or the whole thing? So on the bamboo printers, the whole hot end has the nozzle and the kind of the heat. Well, the P1S is, you can get it two different ways. You can get just like the hot end that you need to swap out and put the heating element on and then attach it, or you can get the whole unit, which is a little bit easier, but you pay more for it. On the A1 series and like the X1, it's a much easier, I think, swap, because it's literally kind of just magnetically drop it in and then put the clasp over it, and that the heating element stays on the head itself. So I pretty much stay with the 0.4. I've bought some of the others just to be able to play around with it, but I haven't had the time / had the, you can go down to a 0.2 for some detail, or you can go up higher for some speed. Usually I just kind of let them run while I'm doing something else on the computer or whatnot, and don't worry about it. So, but getting spare hot ends are strongly recommended. Both Clack and I have shared photos of those getting clogged up and continuing to extrude and making a big old mess. And
yeah.
while you can clean them out, you can't always. And sometimes it's just nice to get that out of there, get the rest of the head cleaned up, and then swap out with a clean hot end and nozzle. So
Yeah, you'll learn what maintenance mode is in that thing. Miss Sharon Thompson, I don't see it on my Etsy shop. I may have never added them to that, because I was doing the little basket thing also, but then I couldn't get the results I wanted from that setup, so I never put it on there. But I mean, I could probably throw them on there. I could probably just throw the file out there, or maybe even come up with a couple of different variations for different height. But I think the ones that I made is a pretty decent height, especially for like tumblers and stuff, because I've got mine set up now to where my chuck's underneath the machine. I did space it up a little bit, so I might have to retool those files just a little bit to make it a little more user friendly for most folks that don't want to have to build the brackets and stuff that I've built. But currently they're not. But I will tell you though, if you've got some small little paint cans, like the little stain cans, the small ones, those are about the right size. Let me see. I got one here. If you were to have like 4 of these little stain cans, like these shellac cans right here sitting around, those are almost the perfect size for that. And the center of them is recessed so that the little foot can sit in there. I mean, these work pretty good. Oh. Whew. All right. Let's see what else we got going on. Somebody was saying they just got, okay, here we go. Says Chris Lindsay says, my name is Chris. I guess, is that Lindsay or Lindley? I probably messed that up, but anyway. Is that thunder? Or is that an airplane? I'm a new member as of today to the new laser engraving / CNC. Looking forward to learning from the channel. Live in Rainburn, Alabama. Thanks for the video. We appreciate you. Glad to have you aboard. I'm going to go ahead and tell you it is quite a large rabbit hole to get into. Move it up a little bit. There we go. That's why our thing. I don't know why it defaults to the other one. But yeah, it's quite the rabbit hole, but I think you'll enjoy it. It's really fun. So there you go. I guess that was an airplane or helicopter or something.
They're coming to get you.
I mean, it was pretty low, whatever it was. And now there is I am in a, like the C-130s and stuff. I haven't heard as many of them come through, but they used to come through here a lot. Like, and they wouldn't be but a couple of 100 feet off the deck when they come over the house.
Yeah. Greg's commenting and knows how many more ads have been on YouTube lately. Crazy. It is the season, you know. You
Yes.
get them through November, maybe early December, and then things start dropping off because everybody's just trying to tap into that holiday season. So, and we have limited control on our videos. I mean, you can tell YouTube where you want them, and they'll say, nope, that's not a good spot, and they may or may not play them. So, you know, short of absolutely turning them off, which is not helpful for
That's kind of
to make money, and
that's kind of counterintuitive for the power bill.
But yeah, so hopefully they're not too annoying.
Just 10 months out of the year, they don't pay a whole lot. The 2 months that they do, you don't want to turn them off.
Yeah. Hopefully they're good commercials. I actually buy some Google Web Storage, Google OneDrive, and part of that they gave me a free trial of YouTube Premium where you don't get the ads. Oh yeah. Man, that was addicting, and I've been paying for that for a little while. So I don't see too many ads, except for the ad reads that some people throw in theirs.
Joseph said, "Thank you for your help the last few days. Well, let me know what you come up with, Joseph." And like I said, Joseph is trying to decide on which way he wants to go in the world of Galvo lasers, as far as MOPA, UV, which one would be more useful. And of course, as always, my thing was, which one do you see you've been able to use enough to make money with? Because that's the big thing. They're fun. They're fun to play with, but you have to have it if you're planning on making your money back. If it's a hobby and you just want it to have it and use it, then by all means, if you got the money, go for it. But if it's a business decision that you're making, you need to look at possible potential products and which one has the most likely market in your area to be able to recoup some of your money. Because if you're doing it as a business decision, then obviously you want it to make money. You don't want it to cost you money. But yeah, there's options out there. Have you gotten your 10 watt done yet?
No,
you've been slacking. See,
I just got the cables like a day and a half ago.
I know, and I sent you. I cheated and sent you a heads up of how the wires go because they didn't send any instructions with the cables. Like, it was just some cables in bubble wrap. But I did have the last night. There's another thing that I was working on last night. I was tearing machines apart last night. I had the Omni X ripped apart last night. That's the base of it, the very, very bottom. Like, that's that very bottom right there. Took it apart, and because me and Steve have early models of the Omni X, the new head that they sent us that makes it a 10 watt wasn't built to connect to that older style of base. And so it was an afterthought that, it went from having one cable that had two connectors to two separate cables. And so you had to go in and change those cables out. That's what I did last night, change those cables out and got my autofocus to working on it and everything. And I'm going to go ahead and say it's doing a really good job. Like the 10 watt it's pretty beast. And it actually cuts 3mm basswood relatively easy and relatively clean. So there'll be something coming on that, but I haven't really got to play with it a lot yet because I was working on a whole bunch of other stuff. And I saw somebody a while ago ask if there might be a chance that either of us would have the X-Tool Ultra UV. And I would say there's a chance, yes, that one of us may have one of those. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, there is a chance. That's, I mean, pretty good chance, but I wouldn't say it's definite just yet. But there's a really good chance that there may or may not be a shipping number.
Oh, you know more than I do.
Well, I don't count my chickens until they hatch.
Well, it kind of sounds like you are.
No, but it's we're at the point unless there's a a FedEx truck throws it off in a valley somewhere, maybe it'll work out.
The belly goat is asking, anyone have experience with RM laser? I just picked up one, my first CO2, haven't gotten it hooked up yet.
Isn't that the one that Rich likes? Was it RM?
I remember him mentioning one a while ago, but I haven't.
Yeah, it was
followed because he's got. Doesn't he have is it an Aeon he's been running?
Yeah, well, he's got one, but for a little while there, he was. I don't know. It was something laser.
Okay.
Somebody else might know more about it, but
I mean, I'm familiar with the name, but I haven't. I have no experience with them, so I can't really speak to it one way or another. They definitely have a variety of them. They even have a UV laser. Well, they have a UV laser section on their website. So maybe it's coming.
Greg, to be honest with you, I didn't get everything. Greg's asking, how did I do everything before I retired? The answer is I technically didn't. And I did spend a lot more time out here at night than what I do now. I try to make myself go in the house before midnight now. But that's one of the reasons why I'm having such a hard time right now is trying to catch up on some of the stuff that I had got behind on, as well as keep up with what's coming up. Like I've had people messaging me about 2 or 3 different files that I had built and was fully intent on putting them on Etsy. Had them most of the work done, but just never put them on Etsy. I even said in the video, I'll have them on my Etsy pretty soon. And I just I never got it done because things kept falling through the cracks. So I've been having to go back and kind of pick up some of those pieces and fix some of that stuff and finish some of that stuff. I've had to go back through a bunch of my videos because these companies are bad to change affiliate like setups. And even though some of these companies, I mean, there's literally some companies I've had affiliate links with for 3 years I've never got a check from. I try to make sure that it's not my fault by having the affiliate links up to date. And so I've had to go back through videos and edit those. And it's just like, as soon as you get all of them done, then some other company's like, oh yeah, by the way, we changed companies. We're using this company now. And so you have to go back and redo all those links. So I've been going back and doing all of that, getting that caught up. And then, of course, I've started doing a little more. Like I got a guy coming tomorrow who's a knife maker that is wanting to kind of partner with me to do. He's going to make the knives, and then he wants me to help with the engraving and like putting his maker's mark on them for him and stuff like that. He's coming tomorrow to bring some samples, and we're going to do some stuff with. So I've been trying to branch out into other physical products as well, because just like with the issue I'm having right now with YouTube, in the event that YouTube like goes belly up tomorrow or kicks me out or whatever the case may be, I got to have other ways of paying my power bill and stuff too. So I'm starting to do more relationships with other businesses in the area. Like I said, this guy makes like custom like knives, which I might even get a custom knife out of the deal. Who knows? But he's wanting some marks put on them and wanting to know how deep I can go. And so I told him to bring me some of the metals that he uses so that we know it's legit, like what it's going to look like as far as the power settings and stuff. And we're going to do some testing tomorrow and discuss collaborating with him on some of his knife projects that he does, which I think will be pretty cool because I don't really have any customers where it's like MOPA stuff, really. I mean, I've got some stuff that I do, but I usually use the UV or a blue diode. I don't use or CO2. I don't use the MOPAs on like a lot of paid stuff. I did the bricks the other day, which I gotta get those picked up this week. But yeah, so I'm starting to expand more physical stuff too. So that's
Yeah, I
kind of
don't have a MOPA, but part of that is because the same thing is I haven't had people really ask for that type of stuff for me. So, and maybe it's the kind of thing, if you have it and you display some things or you show them you can do it, sure, then maybe the work will come. But
yeah,
it's not, I'll be honest, that's some very cool work on, the knives and the coins and the whatnot. But it's not the thing that really kind of gets me creatively going. So it's not, I'm glad there are other people out there that like it.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna see what he wants. If he's just wanting because if he's just wanting his name or his brand or something put on the blades, then that's gonna be simple enough. Not a lot of alignment. That's just gonna be just stick it under there and zip 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 zip, keep moving. But if he's wanting, but he may be wanting to just know what I can do in case he needs something else done. So we'll see. We'll see. North Alabama Smoke says, what do I have to do to swap my D120 to a 40-watt head? I think with that one, you've got a power box, right, that goes on there.
Well, it depends on which version. Like if you got an original D120 watt versus a Pro, I think you got to swap out the board as well and the power supply. I don't remember, the gantry mount might be slightly different. But that's if you're talking about the actual X-Tool one, and if you can find one. Is it Laser Tree? Is it Laser Tree that has some modules?
Yeah, Laser Tree, a bunch of aftermarket one.
But I'd have to look at theirs as well, because it may require some more in-depth surgery to get it working.
At best case, you're going to have a secondary power supply to feed it power. Yeah. That's
at minimum you're going to need that.
Yeah, that's like the least you're going to get by with. When I did the Tour, I think it was, and I did the Comgrow, I think I did a 40-watt upgrade on. There was some adapter cables and then a power supply, and it had its own little. I wouldn't say it's not a controller per se, but it was just its own little box where everything kind of came together as far as like relays and stuff for the module. Greg, with mine, when I had my little situation with my hot end where it got encased in filament and everything, you can actually put the Bamboo Lab machines in like maintenance mode where you can heat the hot end up. And when you heat that hot end up, the filament, of course, will start melting. And I just got mine hot enough that filament melted enough that I could use a Q-tip, a cotton swab, and just wipe it off and get it off of there. And I was able to get it clean. It was definitely not a quick process. I probably would have been better off just throwing the hot end away and put a new one on there. But I was determined that I was going to clean it up, and I did.
Yeah, it's heat. And after a while, it depends on how bad it is. If it's just the internals that are clogged up, you heat it up, and then they have like a little wire thing that you can kind of get in there to help clean it out. If it's encased the thing, like both Black and I have shared some photos of, you may or may not be able to clean that up very well, and you may or may not decide just swap it out with a new one. I mean, you still have to clean the rest of the head that it may have messed up, which is definitely a reason to monitor these as best you can for that not to happen. But yeah, it's basically heat for the most part is how you get them clean.
Sharon's asking, is there an IR module available for the iCube? I think the new iCube there is, correct?
The Ultra there is. I'm not sure about the original one.
I don't remember there being one for the original iCube.
Because she was asking just a couple above that. I was trying to engrave anodized aluminum with the 5-watt. Could not get it to actually engrave.
Anodized aluminum?
I try to remember if I've...
Now, as long as it's not by anodized, as long as you mean like it's anodized with a color. because there are some dog tags that are aluminum. Like I've bought packs of anodized aluminum, and there's some of them that are just like clear. Like they're just those I can't do them. You can't do them with a blue laser. I've never been able to anyway, without mark and spray or something. But if you've got like a black one or a blue one or a red one, I mean, you should be able to do it with. I've did it with a 10 watt. I don't see why you couldn't do it with a 5.
Yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot of power. So
yeah, the anodized one, typically you can. I mean, those don't take much. Tony Tony, I'm not gonna mess your name up. He says alien laser. Maybe that's the one he was. Is that going with a question or a follow up somewhere that we missed? I know there's an alien sail laser that's out. I got an email from them the other day. I don't know what exactly they wanted. I replied back, but I hadn't heard from them because the weekend hit. Well, I'll probably be hearing from them in the next few days. But I don't know exactly what they got going on. But I had 2 invitations to China for the month of November. But then again, it's just too busy. November and December. I can't be out of pocket for that.
Well, I think we both had an invitation from one place that they wanted to come to our studios.
yeah.
No,
one of the places that invited me to come to China was like, oh, well, that's fine. We'll come to you. And I'm like, I don't think you understand my setup. Like, it's not what you think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know that as fun as it is to play with some of these equipment and such. I mean, especially for me with full-time job, I mean, I fit this stuff in around work and family life and everything else.
There's days, and that's why I tell people, they're like, why you always wear that orange shirt? It's because I change clothes between Monday and Friday. And sometimes I start a video on Monday and I may not get through with it until Friday. You know what I mean? Because in the early days, some of my videos, I'd have like 4 different shirts on throughout the video. And so I started, I started wearing my orange shirts. And so now if I do have to, do a video that lasts 3 or 4 days, it's basically the same shirt. It's not noticeable unless you start looking for the glue spots or something. But yeah, guys asking, have you received your Common Markle crystal order? Apparently my first order is somewhere like at the bottom of the Pacific or something. I don't know. But I got an email from ComMarker finally saying that my order had been lost. I'm not real sure it wasn't like detained by customs, because I've gotten some stuff in that was like the markings on the box wasn't necessarily what was in the box. So I don't know if somebody was trying to play some games with, customs and got some stuff put in jail or what, but they did send me an email and say they had sent me a replacement order of crystals. And I did. And the weird thing is those crystals had shipped like a month before this 10-watt head did. I got the 10-watt head, but I didn't get the crystals. But it said they got lost somewhere in shipment. That order is supposed to be coming again.
I did receive mine, so
yeah, you got yours. I think
they do exist.
I think Milton got his. I think, but yeah, I did not get mine. My order was placed September the 4th is when my order was placed. And according to this tracking, it's on its way still. But yeah. Well, actually, it's showing now that it is in Bloomington. I guess that's California, CA. And it's on time. It's in transit. So maybe this order makes it to me. I don't know what happened with the last ones.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah, I'm just glad it wasn't anything expensive. And like I said, the good news is ComMarker didn't give me any issue about it. They said, hey, look, that one apparently got lost in shipping. we're sending a replacement. It'll be there as soon as it gets there. So, Greg, I don't really care if life would slow down if I went back to work. I am loving the freedom. It's if nothing else, I love the fact that when I wake up in the morning, I can sit and check my messages and get something to eat, take my time, walk out here, get to work. I love it so far.
Santa's laser engraving was at a farmer's market on Saturday. I think he posted some photos of that in the Facebook group. And it was weird in the fact that 3 different people asking for my card to call about their bar needs. So, I mean, and that's one thing that I try to remind people is sometimes the money you make at these events are made after the event.
Yeah.
And to definitely have some cards or have a QR code or something that you can get them your contact information. And that's also, if you have a portable laser, it can do something quick for them as a great setup as well. So awesome that you got those contacts. Hopefully one or all of them come through for you and some extra business.
Well, speaking of which, I had to have my septic system cleaned the other day, right? And the the guy that did it for me, I know him. He was when he got through, he had this QR code on his phone, and he's like, "Hey, could you scan this QR code and give me a review to help promote me or whatever?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, no problem." I said, "But what you ought to do is," and I showed him one of my business cards. And I'm like, "What you need to do is get you some of these laser engraved business cards that has your QR code on the back for your review, and then it has all your information and stuff on the front." And so he's like, "I'll take 250 of them." So I got the cards in, and so I'm gonna do black anodized cards, business cards for him. And because, like I said, I do know him and he's a good guy. I'm gonna do the QR code. I think I'm gonna try to do it all on the front. My biggest thing I'm trying to decide right now is will the new Reno 45 be able to do it, or do I just want to just break down and grab my pedal and do 250 cards on the Omni 1? Because I know the Omni is going to make them pop, and that small detail on that QR code is going to look good. So I'm thinking I'm going to go with the Omni, as much as I'd probably have a little more free time doing them on the CO2. But yeah, so I ordered 300 cards. So I'll have 50 left over, and then I'm going to make myself 50 cards to replenish the ones that I use for the meet and greet and everything. Cool. So, yeah. So he showed up. I paid him to do a job and then wound up getting myself a job in the process.
Yeah, no, I've done that as well. As when dealing with a variety of like realtors, salesmen, or other things, you run into them, and like sometimes the last one was a car guy, and he's like, "Oh, hey, sorry, I don't have any cool pens, so you got random ones that I stole from other businesses." So when I came back to see him, I said, "I don't want to hear about you not having cool pens," and I gave him a couple of the engraved metal quality pens with his name and contact and everything on. And he was super excited about that. So, you never know when those are going to lead to something. Kevin Jensen is asking, I added a solenoid hooked up through the Ruida controller on my Maker 25, and it works great. But is there a setting either in Lightburn or laser that will keep the air on during the entire layer? The setting per layer should keep the air running per layer. But if you're asking, will it do it across all of them? No, you'll have to make sure that it's enabled each layer, and then it should stay on. But there isn't like a default always turn it on anytime the laser runs. Some people will run the dual solenoid where when it's off, it has like a low, like an air pump running, and then when it's on, it switches over to the high pressure. And that would always keep like a low amount on. But no, I'm pretty sure you have to just make sure that in the layer it's always set. So DJS 751 is asking, how am I liking the Reno? I'm thinking about getting the Reno 65 Pro. And then it gets cut off. Do you think it's a good choice? Okay. I still have it down in my basement workshop, and it works great because space is tighter down there. And so it's great for me when I have a project that fits into that kind of 16 by 12, and I don't want to come out here. Especially that happens more often in the winter than not. So yeah, as far as a budget CO2 laser, it works great with the caveats of if you're doing a lot of cutting, the air assist upgrade is going to be really something you want to do. And I also wanted to make a way to fix the honeycomb in place. So I used some 3D printed little brackets, and that works pretty well. Overall, that laser's nice. It's, the fact that it has an external chiller is maybe it's an extra expense, but it gives you options and flexibility. You can start out with just a bucket and a closed loop system if you're just doing occasional things, and then you can upgrade to a legit chiller, kind of like Clack had on the bottom of his there. So he's showing us what he's been testing on his. He's got the Reno 45 Vision with the camera, and just been doing some testing on that. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with what you said. So far, though, because I'm going to be honest with you, after my experience with the Mega, I was a little but when I talked to you and you told me what you thought about it, I was like, you know what? It sounds like it's a good, basic, bare bones, workable laser. No smart features. Like it is as basic gets. But I like basic when it comes to lasers. I do like I've got the OhmTech, which has the Ruida controller, and then this is the first time I've ever had any exposure to that. The Top
Wisdom.
Top Wisdom. This is the first time I've ever had any exposure to the Top Wisdom controllers. It's pretty simple and easy. Like the way it sets up, setting the origin, because I've always used absolute coordinates, but with this machine, with that having a red dot and everything, especially in my speed and power tests, I've been running it user origin. That's how I'm able to do these like I'm doing them and stack them. Is I'll set it user origin and I'll set the dot top left corner, and when I run them, I can stack them. Like this is 3 passes, this is 2 passes, and I'm just doing a bunch of test burns because I plan to do an air assist upgrade on it eventually. And so this is kind of going to be my before sheet, and then I've got an after sheet that I'm going to do once I do the upgrade to it. So the air assist, as you can see around the cuts, the air assist is very weak. It does have the way that it's set up is pretty cool. I think what I'm going to try to do, I know you did yours different. I watched your video again the other day of where you upgraded yours. And I know you took the pump out and replaced it with a solenoid. I'm trying to decide if I want to, rather than take that pump out and replace it with a solenoid, if I don't want to just put a Y in there, put a solenoid in, and then pipe it to my shop air so that I can turn off and turn on the high pressure air, but always have that little pump that's in there, have it always running. So I'm trying to decide if that's something that I want to do, or if I want to just gut it and have all my air controlled. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, because I've been playing with the little valve that's on the gantry, and I found that instead of having it wide open, if I turn it down just a little bit and put a little bit of restriction on that pump, I get a more even flow instead of that spitting feeling from it. And so I'm thinking that I could actually turn that down a little bit lower and just have that as like a constant pressure against the lens, and then have my shop air come in and be turned on layer by layer. And that way I could technically run it without the shop air if I wanted to, and it still function like it originally did. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to decide, but I'm doing my testing. But so far, yes, that's the honeycomb and the air assist is the only 2 things that I've had any negativity about. I mean, the camera, mine's got a camera. So it having the camera was a bit of a surprise, because I know darn acorns just going to tear my roof off. I know yours doesn't have the camera, does it?
No.
But this one's got the camera, which mean, you were talking about I might get one. You told me, hey, see if you can get the one with a camera. And so that was what I told them is if I was going to get one, I really like cameras and I feel like it's a good tool to have. And so I wound up getting it. So let me get this, if I can get it connected. Oh, my darn streaming software's got the camera hook locked up. I hate it when it does that.
The cameras are nice and they can be a useful tool. It's just people need to have realistic expectations of what most of them will do.
Yeah.
They're great for kind of using up material and getting things close, but I would never use one, say like if you wanted to get something on a coin and it's going to take up, you want it to go edge to edge. I'd never trust a camera to get it right.
No, the camera is useful for design layout a lot of times, and I use them a lot, but not like I don't just trust it and send it. I'm still gonna frame and look at it and all that. But yeah, I can't. I done this. Apparently, Streamlabs has captured my camera. It won't let me. It won't let me use it right now.
But yeah, the overall question, it's a good. If you understand that it is, kind of a baseline laser, that there isn't anything necessarily smart about it. And there are just a couple quirks with, like the air assist and the honeycomb. It's a decent way to get a pretty decent CO2 machine without not a lot of expense, I guess. So there's some things, like I've got the OhmTech Polar Light, which is a nice machine. And so that's kind of bridges the gap between the 45 and the 65. It's got a larger working area than the 45. It's got the camera built in, but it also has an internal, it's basically a radiator. It's not really a chiller, an active chiller. And their air assist pump as well is they're harder to bypass and update. So mine's been working pretty well. I haven't had too many complaints about it. I would love to play around with air and see if adjusting air on the OhmTech Polar Light makes any difference, but that's just one of the things, where when you get kind of more of a basic laser, sometimes some of those user upgrades are a little bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like air assist is one of those things that everybody's just kind of not putting a lot of work into these days. It's like they think they can use the same air assist pump they used on a 10-watt laser, and it's just not. It's not getting it. It's not cutting it. Now, why did my other camera done mess up and get all out of zoom? Oh, it's killing me. There we go.
AGT Restorer is asking if you had to replace a D1 Pro 20 watt with a different laser with same bed and enclosed, what would you get?
A D1 20 watt? Are you wanting to go more powerful, or are you just wanting a replacement? Something that'll perform the way that it performed? If you're wanting something similar that has similar capabilities and similar performance, I would say like the Aesmer P2, that 33 watt it's a good one. The Algo Laser MK, if you're looking at staying with a 20 watt, the Algo Laser will actually outperform a D1 20 watt. Like the rapid speeds on that thing is insane.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking at something that you could use your already existing camera, you could the same enclosure because it has very similar footprint. I think those two would be something to look at. You would need to verify the dimensions depending on how much extra room you're.
Yeah, it's going to depend on what enclosure you built because the D1 was compact compared to most others. So,
Assuming that you have a few inches to spare.
Yeah.
I think either one of those two would be a good alternative. Well, longer machines are good ones too, but they're a lot bigger.
I'd throw the. I mean, it depends on the money you want to spend and some of the other things, but I would throw the Atom Stack Craft in there. It's a little bit wider. It's not. I don't think it's quite as square. I think you get like, is it 500 by 400 or something like that? But that one would be one to consider as well. It's got a decent enclosure and.
Oh, you want the same bed and enclosed. I thought he was saying with an enclosure.
Yeah, I don't.
I thought he was trying to put it back in an enclosure that he's already built, because I know the D1 Pro wasn't enclosed. But if you're wanting it enclosed, it would be like you said, the Craft, the P3. Those are going to be your two.
I mean,
Rolly's out of the picture now, but
yeah, Rolly's out of the picture. I mean, if you want to stick with X Tool, the S1 is a really nice laser, but it's a little bit wider and it's gonna be a little more expensive than some of the others.
Yeah, I've been misunderstood that. I thought he was trying to put it back in the same enclosure,
which is also an option too. Santa's laser engraving is asking if did I figure out what happened when you created my masterpiece. Oops. I posted a photo on my Facebook page this morning. I set a couple print jobs to run, and I had recently moved the FlashForge 85X up on my IKEA shelf that I've got. I basically swapped out the A1 Mini with that one. I was trying to get all three of them to fit there with my filament dryer, but it was just too
not enough real estate.
Yeah. And I don't use the A1 Mini as much because I have, the P1S, the A1, and now the 85X.
Hashtag Steve has all the cool toys.
So the problem with that one is I had the spools on the side of the 85X, and they're just out in the open. And I've been kind of getting away with just running them. And I realized after moving some of the other things, and another one of them broke off, that the filament's just it needs to be dried. So I've got that roll of filament in the dryer, and I've been running off a couple of things. I actually printed some things with it, and this base part was off the 85X, just a different color of filament. So it is still working, but. And this has been kind of going around the circles of these little totes. I think they're being sold at, is it Lowe's or something? They're going to be selling these, but there's some files out there for 3D printing them. So I had to give it a shot and run that. They actually do stack. You get two of them.
Cool. News fans asking, is a shop vac and a particle separator a good start for dust collection? I assume the motor won't last long with constant running, and I would say, yeah. I mean, it'll get you by. You use something similar, don't you? But yours is actually didn't you swap your? You don't use a shop vac anymore, do you? Or you still using a shop vac?
Yeah, it's just a rigid shop vac.
Okay.
So I'm running an Oneida Cyclone separator, and I've got just a rigid shop vac on that. I've done these over the years. This one doesn't see as constant use. I mean, if you're running it 8 hours a day constantly, I probably wouldn't go with just your average Black Friday sale, big box store shop vac. I ran a fine dust collector on it for a while, and those have different, they do a better job of cooling the motor. They're meant to run longer. Whereas your typical shop vac isn't meant to run hours on end. So yeah, you will want to watch that. I will say it's also a good way to add some heat to your shop if you do run it constantly. But it's kind of hidden behind the other stuff, but it's right back there. I've got a whole cart on it, and I just took it up to the Onefinity, and it does work. It's not as good as an actual dust collector. But depending on what you're doing, it'll suffice for a while until you can afford to swap it out or find the space to swap it out or whatever.
Joseph Genio, yeah, on glass depends on which machine you use. I'm guessing since you've been looking at a UV, yeah, UV is about the only way you're going to get like a really nice frosting on glass. You can get decent results with CO2s, and you can do the magic with the coatings and stuff like that, and get okay results with a diode. But with the diode and the CO2 both, you got to be really careful not to get too aggressive, or you'll actually fracture the glass. Whereas with the UV tends to be a little more forgiving because it's the dot size is so small, and it'll mark it so easily that you don't have to really like dig into it. And so the surface is not, you're not getting that glass is hot, because with the CO2 and with the diode, they're operating by using just a tremendous amount of heat. And the CO2 just seems to be a little more delicate. It's more like using 220 grit sandpaper as opposed to 80. It's, you may have to do multiple passes, but it's not as aggressive with the material, because I have busted wine glasses with CO2s and with diodes. Like I think I bought like 6 wine glasses, and I think I cracked the first 2 with a blue diode before I realized what I was doing wrong. Because it doesn't take a whole lot with that real thin glass to cause a fracture big enough to make it just fall apart. Like you'll just be sitting there engraving it, and it'll just collapse on itself.
Yep. Chuck is asking, have y'all used anything other than bamboo filament? I know I have. I've had good luck with the Polymaker filaments when doing like the little chunkables and such. They have a lot of different colors. And I've used the voxel filament. That's worked out okay. They actually have, if you're using bamboo, they have some profiles for their printers. Overture, I've run that through it with success. And trying to think, there was another one that I've had recently, but yeah, especially like on PLA, a lot of it is fairly, you may want to switch your profile from like the high speed to the stock PLA if you're running on bamboo with kind of a no name filament until you do some testing. But yeah, there's you're starting out with those filaments, they're generally somewhat forgiving.
Joseph saying, where you buy the card blanks from? These I typically try to get most of my stuff from Amazon, and the reason being is, one, it's quick, it's easy. It's not like if I order something from some of these other places, $20 worth of cards is going to cost me $40 worth of shipping. So it's a matter of convenience, not having to pay for shipping. And also, I can tell you guys where I got them, and you can order them, and most everywhere you can get the exact same product. A lot of times, if I get them from like JDS and places like that, that's great, JPP and all that. But you got to buy like $300 worth of stuff to get free shipping, or either you got to pay as much for shipping as you do for the product, and that just doesn't work for me. When I got like all I need that week is those cards. Like I ordered those cards and some of those high speed wheels for my chair that Steve told me about. And so it's like $80 altogether, $60, and I was ordering the wheels from Amazon anyway. So it's like, why would I order the cards from somewhere else and have to pay shipping on them? So typically I'll get them from Amazon. Now this is a little different card than what I got before. It's the same thickness and everything that I like, but this is a different brand because the ones that I got last time I ordered, for some reason, they didn't have them. So I'm going to wait until I do these to tell you whether or not I think these are good cards. If I make it through this order of 250 cards, I will know how well they hold up. Janie, that's something I got to figure out with the guy that's wanting them made. I emailed him. Actually, I emailed him the other day and told him to send me what he wants on the card. And as long as it's nothing too crazy and I can put it on one side, that's going to dictate the cost. But I did tell him that he could go buy paper ones much cheaper if he wanted just to get some cards. And he said he wanted the metal ones and he wanted a QR code on them. So he knows that they're going to cost more than paper cards. And like I said, I'll work with him because As long as I can make a little bit of something for my time, I'm gonna do a video. I may even break out my round jig for the Galvo, which is basically where I take my rotary and set it up like that, and I created a rotating jig that rotates. I may use it, or I may just do it flat. That way, you guys that don't have a rotary can do it that way. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Because it it might be easier for me to use a rotary, or it may just be easier for me to just do them by hand. I don't know yet. We'll see. But
David Bingle is asking, my diode laser is not working correctly. It makes a sputtering sound. Do you think I just need a new laser head, or could it be something else?
I didn't ever heard a laser make a sputtering sound now. I don't.
I mean, I would start by checking connections.
Are we sure that's not the air assist making the noise?
I mean, he says the diode is not working correctly. If it was the air assist, it would still be working somewhat. I don't know what not working correctly explicitly means, but I'm guessing he's having issues with the head firing. I would double check connections first. It could be a connection that's getting loose, especially in some of those where they may not have the best cable management. You may be working a kink, or maybe having a break forming. The other thing is possibly check the power supply. Make sure everything's connected firm, and if you can test the voltage of it, if you have a voltmeter, maybe double check that. But to me, it's usually it's something with power or connectivity on intermittent issues with that. So
yeah, if whatever it's doing is like going and coming, I would agree it's probably going to be a loose wire. I'm just curious how a laser makes sputtering sounds. That's got me. That's not something. I mean, that sounds like something that maybe a weed eater or a car would make. But Brad's asking, have I bought the P1S yet? No, I'm trying to be a good steward of my money, and I can't justify it because everything that I've needed to print, I have been able to successfully print with my A1. So I'm trying to redirect. I got some other things that I need to get because I have another product that I'm trying to get pushed out, and I need a 3D scanner to make this product work. And so if I'm going to spend money on something right now, it's probably going to be a 3D scanner, but I may have a 3D scanner coming. So I'm kind of holding off because I want to be able to use these lasers, the UV lasers, to do 3-dimensional images of people inside the crystal, like legit real people. And so in order to do that, I got to have a 3D scanner that can do people and do them relatively, trouble-free. And so that's what I'm working on because I think that would be really cool as far as like being able to do, busts of people or pets or whatever, being able to 3D scan something and put it in glass would be pretty cool.
You think a pet's going to sit still long enough for you to 3D scan it?
I bet you Biscuit will. He passes out and doesn't move for 30 minutes at a time.
I'm not sure that's the pose you want to be engraving.
But there are a lot of options for it. So I'm that's where I'm kind of waiting right now. I'm wanting to get my 3D scanning up before I advance on the printing right now.
DJS is asking, is there any benefit between the Reno Pro and the non-Pro besides the DSP control on top of the machine? I use Lightburn with my diode laser, and non-Pro uses Lightburn also. Technically, the speed is 100 millimeters a second slower, which honestly, very few lasers, when they talk about like, oh, this one will, I think like the P3, they're saying 1200 millimeters a second.
Yeah, it's not leaving a mark on nothing.
There are very few things that are going to need that speed. So that's kind of the bigger one. So I don't know. I haven't had experience with the non-Pro one, and also the fact that you don't have to upgrade your Lightburn to run it. If you get the DSP version, you will have to make sure you have the Pro version of Lightburn, which I think it's what, $200 versus the 100, something like
It's
that.
gotten pricier. I don't remember.
Right. So I can't say definitively without actually having my hands on it and testing it, but the top speed being kind of the main difference, I don't think you're going to miss that.
Yeah. Tony's asking, will a CO2 do a photo on a metal business card? I would imagine you could do one. I don't know that you would get the same results as you would with a IR or a UV, because you're just going to be removing the anodization off of it with a CO2. Correct? I haven't done business cards with CO2s that much.
It's no different than a
blue, right?
Than a blue diode. Your biggest difference there is the spot size is a little bit bigger, and I'll be honest, people tend to overstate the importance of that unless you are going with a UV laser or like a 3-watt real fine spot diode and taking a lot of time to up that DPI. It's going to be good enough for most people. So yeah, no, you can definitely do that with a CO2 laser. You just have to make sure that, I mean, if you get one if you're trying to do this on like a 120 watt CO2 laser, good luck, because it doesn't take a lot of power and you're probably going to not get the contrast that you want between the spot size and, you know, they don't, a CO2 laser has a minimum power rating to fire. And when you maybe have to fire at say 15% of 120 watt CO2 laser, it's a lot of power you're throwing at that card. So lower power CO2s, yes. Higher power, it's probably not the right tool.
Yeah, you're not going to get the same contrast as you would with a IR or a UV, because the blues and the CO2s are basically going to remove the coating from the card, whereas the IR and the UV are actually going to discolor the coating and typically make it like a really brilliant white, which is going to contrast a lot better than just the bare metal underneath the card. But that might be something I can try with this 45 watt, because I'm telling you, it's surprising me with images.
Alex is asking, is there a CO2 metal tube that you would recommend? I have been looking at the One Laser XRF, 4,500, 5,500 is budget, no ohm tech, as they don't ship to Alaska. I would look at the Thunder Laser, the Bolt series. Depending on what you're looking to do, that's going to be in that budget range, and hopefully they ship to Alaska. But I think they manufacture a lot of the One Laser's parts for them. So
yeah. Now I will say this: I've been doing some research into the RF tubes. If your main go-to for a CO2 is going to be engraving, the RFs are much better. But from what I've been hearing, there's some folks that got the RF tubes that wanted to do, like, they were heavy cutting, like cutting materials, and the RF will cut, but if you're doing a lot of cutting, especially with thicker materials, what I'm seeing, the tube machines actually do a little bit better job as far as penetration through the materials. But the one that my buddy Tim's got, he's got the Thunder, and I've cut cardboard and some thin plywood with it, and it didn't have a problem. But I've been hearing a lot of people saying that it doesn't perform as well cutting.
It's cheap. It's cheaper to get the power in the glass tube CO2. Yeah. And I think that's the difference. You know, I do see they have a 60 watt Thunderbolt now. So
is that the Pro Thunderbolt Pro?
Bolt Plus Pro. What is it?
Oh, I've been looking at them because I dream of maybe one day I could get me one, but I can't justify it right now. It's one of those things that
sure
I can't.
Let's see. Oh yeah, Mark, that's the other one I've been using, Elegoo PLA as well. He recommends it, a 4-pack, around $10 a spool for black. That's one thing to do. Look, when you're ordering filament, a lot of times when you order, sometimes they'll have like a pick 5 color for a discount kind of thing. Can save you some money, and over time you're definitely going to want to add the rainbow colors to your collection of stuff if you're I mean, if you're just doing like jigs, fixtures, things around the shop, who cares? Pick a color, just not orange, and roll with it. But if you're doing, if you're doing, you know, like the like the lit up signs where you want to be able to do graphics, or you're doing some of the little figurines and such, you're going to start collecting a lot of different filament colors. So it's nice to buy them in a pack when you can.
I didn't take a picture of it, but my kids were organizing their bathroom and were saying they needed a soap dish and a razor holder and all this kind of stuff the other day. I bought, for some reason, a roll of silk PLA.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm never going to use this for anything else. So I'm like, well, how about this color, kids? And so, yeah, I printed some parts with that silk. It actually looks pretty cool. I mean, the color is like an orange purple blend. But yeah, I was like, I'm never going to use this on jigs or anything. So I'll just use it for this. And it done a good job.
Yeah.
It seemed a little more sensitive than standard PLA. Like it was, you could tell if it got too hot or too cold, you'd have problems with that stuff. Like, luckily it printed good.
Yeah.
But some of my supports actually popped loose from the bottom part as it was printing, but somehow or another it bridged it. Like, it went back and bridged across there, and the print worked. I almost stopped it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wait and see what happens. But even with some of I used tree supports, even with some of the little trees getting knocked over, it bridged it somehow, and the print actually was a successful print.
Yeah.
I'll take some pictures of it and put it on my page when I get in the house in a little bit.
Sometimes it's sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah. Here's a question for you. Whatever. Zelfade Rose 917 says, can you recommend a UV laser for marking? Is it better to get a water cooled versus an air cooled? I have no experience with a water cooled. I mean, that would be neat if you had one. But the only experience with a UV I have are these two com markers sitting right here so far. What says you there, Steve?
Yeah, I don't have any experience with a water cooled UV laser. Generally speaking, a water cooled whatever is going to be more consistent, but it often adds complexity. You know, you got to have a compressor chiller usually, and it's another device. You got hoses and whatnot. It can add issues. I guess it kind of depends on the volume of stuff you're going to do. I mean, if you're going to be running it solid, you got a lot of business, I would definitely invest in something that, you know, can do a whole solid 8+ hour day. The other thing being is a water cooled one is going to be a lot quieter. The air cooled ones they got to move a lot of air. The UV lasers tend to create a lot of heat, so they got to move a lot of air. But yeah, there's a number of them coming out right now. There's a number of them that have been out, but there's a number of them that are coming out more in the budget space. You know, Sculpt Fun has theirs coming out. X-Tool, which is cheaper than maybe your industrial ones like Thunder and such, but going to be a little more expensive, I would imagine, is coming out with one. And what was that other one that?
X Laser Labs.
Yeah.
One. Sculpt Fun's got one. Or somebody else. But the X Laser Lab, that's the ones that had emailed me about it.
Yeah.
But Com Marker just got theirs upgraded to a 10 watt. I don't know what everybody else's is going to be. I'm thinking maybe they're trying to stay ahead of everybody, and that's why they bumped it up to a 10. Because I don't know. I know what's the other brand? The guy.
The Ocean.
Yeah. I think he makes a 10 watt UV. Hey Ocean, or whatever the name of the company is.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I don't know of many companies out there right now, other than, you know, industrial machines, of course, but that are doing consumer level like 10 watt UVs. I haven't seen many of those advertised so far.
Yeah, so I guess it kind of depends on, are you looking more commercial, industrial, or more like the small business, prosumer?
Yeah, Eli
hobbyist
said
thing.
Cloud Ray has a water cooled 10 watt. Yeah, Cloud Ray likes their stuff though. They they do that. I looked at a couple of Cloud. I was looking at getting me a CO2 Galvo because that's the one machine that I feel like if I could get my hands on a CO2 Galvo, tumblers would no longer be like that would be the ultimate machine for tumblers. But I haven't got my hands on one yet. I've actually been tempted to take this Monport 30 watt Mopa that I've got and change the source out in it, but I don't know that it's that simple to convert one over to a CO2. I've never done it. So
Anyway, I've actually caught up on the comments.
I think I'm close to the end. Because I'm seeing Silk comments.
Yeah. So if we missed your question, go ahead and drop it in again. We'll try to catch back up on those. We try to get not too far behind. That means you sometimes jump over ahead.
Yeah, you start racing through there.
Yeah. But good time to remind people that we do have a Facebook group called the Laser Engraving Community. Kind of came out of this whole Sunday Night Live thing. So if you want to catch up with more of what the group is doing, you want to ask questions with photos or video, things like that, that's a good place to go. And there should be links in the description of each of our videos. We also each have our own Facebook and Instagram pages that we post to as well. Things to take a look at and follow us on it there as well. And then coming up in what did we say? December 20. I got to remember that date.
It's the last Sunday before Christmas.
Oh, yeah. The 21st.
December 21st. Yeah.
So December 21st is going to be our big Christmas giveaway live stream. We are working with a number of our contacts and such to be able to bring a bunch of prizes for you guys. So it's going to be have to be here to win. It's open to anyone to enter. It'll be a keyword. And so we'll have multiple draws for various things. We're continue to work with people to kind of dial in what they are going to be working with. Just a heads up, we may go a little early that day just to make sure we don't get too much in a time crunch and go too late. If we want to give time for each drawing and talk about them. So that'll be coming up and looking forward to that. So hopefully most everybody can be there. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, I just noticed something. The Cloud Ray machine's not too terrible for the 10 watt, but look at this. See this chiller thing here? Does that look familiar to you at all?
Oh, the chiller? Yeah. I'm sure that's a commonly used one.
It's got the same little cooling panels on the side, the handles. Like, this is it. This is the same little refrigerator thing. So, I mean, maybe we could have a water cooled one. add a little hoses. I had to winterize my glacier. I couldn't remember. I think I only put water in it, so I went ahead and drained it and brought it inside just for safety. And made me a place to store it. Yeah, you can kind of sort of see it over there. The ferns about got it hidden because I got ferns in here now. But yeah, you can see it hanging from over there by the garage door. Got it on the wall. Might actually be able to see it better with this other camera. Hang on. There you go, right there, right behind the fern. Yep. I ain't gonna lie though. After seeing those plants in here, I may need to add me a couple of plants. Add some greenery in here.
Raduz is asking on the F2, how would the IR do with embossing metal? Obviously, deep ones would take a week, but like 0.5 to 1 millimeter. Problem with embossing, if you're trying to get the 3D look, you really need depth. to do it well. And even a 20 watt, you're talking hours to do that.
Because you're looking at least 256 passes. Typically is what they set them up for.
And someone had asked me in the comments of my video about doing the color marking on metal. And again, it is doable, but there's so many variables that you can't, it's difficult to control from one piece to the next. I mean, just the actual temperature your blank is at when it starts can have an effect on it. But then, you can run your test card on one piece of metal, and if the other one is a bit thicker, a bit larger, has better heat dissipation, whatever, it's going to change your results. So
yeah, the angle of the beam hitting the material is a sharper angle. You're going to lose some of the light, thus lower some of the heat. And so the same setting in the middle of the work area may get a different color in the edge of the work area. It's marketing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean it's doable, but repeatable is the tricky thing. And on these lower wattage ones, it's time. So, but yeah, I don't know that embossing metal with the 5 watt IR is it possible? Maybe, but it would take a very long time.
Well, I'll put it to you this way: I did it with wood, using a piece of like just basswood.
Mm-hmm.
It still takes a while with the 15 watt blue laser. It still takes a little while. So yeah, I would think doing metal with that one. I don't think I would recommend it. I'm not saying you couldn't do it, but yeah, you'd have to go you just had to sit there and eat a lunch or barbecue some, maybe smoke a Boston Bud or something while you waited.
I actually did that today.
Did you?
Yeah. So, got up early, threw it on there, had it for dinner just before this.
Cool.
Is there a brand of ornaments that you would recommend for a diode laser like the Lumos? If you're talking about like the glass ornaments or the ball ones, find glass ones.
Yeah, the dollar store ones, the cheap ones.
Well, the problem is even at like when a lot of the ones at the dollar store are plastic. They're the non-breakable ones.
Yeah,
so you gotta look around. But I know Michaels. If you have a Michaels near you, they have both, and I've had some decent luck with some of theirs in the past. But yeah, definitely you want to find the glass ones, and then it's really just kind of dialing it in for whatever paint layer they've got. So, yeah, if you can find the actual glass ornaments, I would try to stay away from the glitter or metallic ones. Just get like the solid. Some of them have like a matte paint finish. Those are probably going to work best for you.
Yep. Greg's, I think I clicked the wrong one. Yeah, Greg's trying to say I've got a green thumb. That's Brandy's plants, by the way. I was trying to click this one. Kevin's asking, what PSI setting do you use with shop air? Steve, does the Master Force compressor work pretty well?
Yeah, so I've got that hooked up to the Reno 45 down in the basement, and so I've got the regulator mounted on the back of the laser, and from there it's only another maybe 3 feet of tubing going into the head, because it goes into the laser at that point and goes through the cable chain and such. I'm running 5 to 7, I think, on that with the 45. I've tried bumping it up higher. Obviously much less does have an impact, but it doesn't take much. Now on my older laser, where I had the regulator further away, I had to run it higher. So your PSI at your regulator is just kind of a gauge. At that point, you're doing it by feel. You basically run some cut tests, adjust your regulator till you see where you're getting the best cut with the least amount of air. That's your setting for that one. Ballpark, I would say you're probably never going to be up over 15. I had to run 20 because I had a longer length, and I think inside the laser it went into, I think, a thicker hose than what I had. So that some of those factors will change what your PSI is. But make sure you have the moisture trap in there as close to the laser head as you can, and try to have your regulator as close to the head as well. It'll reduce some of those variables.
Yeah, to me, I set up a cut and I adjust mine in the cut because that way you can sit there and just slowly adjust it because as you turn it up, you'll start seeing the cut get cleaner and cleaner and thinner looking, and then all of a sudden you'll get to that point to where no matter how much you turn it, there's either no improvement or it starts getting worse. And then you back it back down. And that's the way I set mine. It's basically I turn mine all the way off and then I just start gently turning it until I get that really clean. Like I want it to look like there's just a hair laying on the material. Like I want that as clean as I can get it. And when I get it to that clean and I start seeing that, okay, I've passed that point of the cleanest cut, now let me back down. And then I'll lock it down right there and leave it. The regulator and the gauge is more or less just to maintain consistency because sometimes your air compressors, it's going to go up and down and all that with the different lines or whatever. I don't know that I would, take somebody to say, oh, yeah, run 12 PSI because 12 PSI might work great for me, but it might not work for you because like you said, the interior diameter of the hoses, the length of run, the size of the exit pupil of the nozzle. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go into affecting how that PSI dictates into the cut. So I've never really I've got these two different atom stacks and both the setups. If you looked at the regulators, both of them are set differently. And it's basically the same setup, but it's just there are these minute differences in the lines and everything.
Yeah.
I was asking something about PLA. I'm gonna let you have this one because I have no idea. I don't study a whole lot on my 3D printing.
Yeah, I haven't looked into it too much, but some of the newer PLAs are they tend to be more like UV resistant. They are a little bit stronger, so they're trying to keep it as friendly as a filament to work with, without but adding a little more rigidity or what am I thinking, durability to them. But as far as what they're doing to it, I haven't looked into it that deep to necessarily give a definitive answer on that. So I use them. I'm learning more about them day in and day out, but I'm not as technical with my 3D printers as I am, say, with the lasers and the CNC machines.
Yeah, I haven't done that much research myself. Andy's saying, good evening. I have a question concerning the We Create 45. And Lightburn works perfectly fine with Make It, but when I try to use Lightburn, it autofocuses fine, and then when I press start, it rises. Andy, yeah, that has the We Create's machines will go from working with Lightburn to kind of working with Lightburn to not working with Lightburn and back to working with Lightburn with every update they push out, it seems like. When I had the 45 Pro here in my shop, it worked okay with Lightburn, but I do know from my experiences with their machines over the years that it's like every update that they push out it's a roll of the dice as to whether or not it's going to affect the Lightburn compatibility. And some of that too is because Lightburn has been updated as well. So when you have a machine that, Lightburn is a secondary concern of theirs, I wouldn't count on it to work with Lightburn all the time. I know it worked pretty well with the We Create software, and that's what I used it with Lightburn just to test it, but primarily it was just a lot more less problematic using their software, even though their software had its limits. So, and I think you're probably along the same lines. I know you've experienced some of those. It was working fine last week. No, it ain't. I know you've had a few of those.
Oh no, my We Create machines, other than the Lumos, have been a struggle in and out all the time. No. I'm not a good one to ask about them because I've had horrible experiences with them and just to the point of just endless frustration. So,
yeah. And the frustrating part to me, to be honest, and this is a conversation that we've had, is a lot of the issues that you see people complaining about with these We Create machines. We pointed those out to them early on when we had some of the pre-release models, and was like, hey, this is an issue that needs to be fixed. And I know the whole air assist line getting cut thing on the very first one, I pointed that out to them, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna fix that before we release the machine. And then I still see people complaining about that. So they haven't been real good about taking our feedback and addressing the issues. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm like Steve. They're going to have to really change the direction, I think, to get me to take another one of the machines. The Lumos was probably the least problematic machine that I've seen from them. Now my 45 Pro worked fine. I got lucky though, because like mine didn't suffer from the issues that Steve's did. Steve's was snake bit right out of the gate. I got lucky and mine worked. So I didn't have that problem. But yeah.
Yeah, no, both the original Vision and the Vision Pro 45, I had to put a lot of work into, and there's a reason there is no video on the Vision Pro 45 on my channel.
Yeah. Richard Snarks asking, can you use a CNC to cut 1/4 inch Luan or just my laser? And the answer is yes, you can, but take it from somebody who with experience in doing it. Use a downcut bit with 1/4 inch material. Do not use an upcut bit unless you like doing a little bitty tiny piece and you have it really well secured. Because if you're doing a 4 foot by 8 foot sheet on a big CNC with an upcut bit, 1/4 inch material is it can flex towards the spindle, and upcut can, especially if you're dialing in your settings, you can suck that material up to the device, just like with the Lexan and acrylics and stuff as well.
Well, if you get one of Cody's compression bits, those would be the best, because that's going to pull it in towards each side. Because the problem with using upcut or downcut, one side, especially when you have a thin veneer on that, it's going to splinter, and you're going to have whichever edge that blade is pushing out on the cut, that's going to splinter out more. The compression bit pulls the fibers in on both sides of the cuts. The problem is a lot of your typical bits will have too deep of a compression that you can't get into it enough. So Cody shrinks his down, the kind of the upcut part, so that you can get into where you still have down cut on your first pass. And so it doesn't pull it up and it doesn't splinter out. So yeah, you can.
My cure for using the downcut bit is to go all the way through into the material underneath it. That's typically, if I'm cutting 1/4 inch, I'll put a piece of 1/8 inch. Like I got some scrap stock down here I'll use to.
Yeah, but you can still get issues with blowout on that. So I mean, it's better, but ideally if you got a compression bit. But Luan is just, it's really, there's a reason I use a lot of Baltic birch in my shop, is that top layer. Those external layers are like full layers instead of a thin veneer. So much easier to get cleaner cuts on it. Unfortunately, that material has become 4 or 5 times as expensive as it was a decade ago. So it's a little bit less affordable for everything.
Yep.
Let's see here. Thought I saw. Oh, Rick is asking, is there a spray-on adhesive that dries within a few minutes for applying things like glitter to 3D print? Trying to think. You got to be careful with. I mean, if you're fully coating it, that might work, but there are certain accelerants in spray paint and like CA accelerator, things like that have like acetone and such in them. They'll actually discolor the print. So you got to be careful with some of that stuff. I don't know. Did you just grab something? What do you got?
Yeah, it's not terribly fast. But I've used this Loctite spray adhesive on stuff, and it works pretty well. But I don't remember what the curing. What I was doing, I didn't really like have to sit and wait on it to cure. I just kind of slapped it together and went on about my business. So I don't know what the curing time is. That's what I was going to try to read and see what it says. 8 to 10 inches. Blah blah blah.
Is that like a contact spray-on adhesive kind of thing?
It says to allow it to dry 10 minutes, then join for porous surface.
Like a contact. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only spray stuff I've ever really used.
So Mark Patterson's saying 3M spray adhesive works great. After it dries, seal it with a coat of shellac to keep the glitter from escaping. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I'll be honest, I don't use a lot of spray adhesives for things. I've had some cans of similar stuff like that contact stuff for doing like laminations and such, but it's a bit messy. As far as detailed work, I mean, it's meant for like spraying a larger area, and then it's more of a contact adhesive where you're going to spray both sides, and then when you join them, they grab almost instantly. So,
yeah, I don't remember exactly what I got that for. I think it was an experiment that I was doing with something. Oh no, I don't. I remember it was those signs I did with that plastic for the school. That's what it was. Pretty sure that's what it was. I just sprayed it.
Eek Blake is asking, wanting a food safe filament. If I'm understanding correctly, PLA and PETG are food safe. Do you guys know anything about this? Yeah, technically, PLA and PETG are good.
Should be.
PETG is better. I think that one's actually approved through the FDA, whereas PLA, because it is less resilient to heat, there's concerns about, if you're using it around hot foods and such, PLA would definitely be less of a choice for that. But I would go with PETG if you're going to be doing that. I mean, I'll be honest, I would stay away from it in general. But if you got to, and if you're going to do it, I would go with PETG. Joseph says he's got a working Lightburn profile for the Weekrate Vision Pro. Took me a lot of time to work that out, but I have it working like a charm for me. Yeah, that's great, and hopefully you're able to help others in the community with that. Because definitely Lightburn opens up more capabilities of that laser than the stock software, but getting it to that point can be a bit tricky.
Mine used to work. I haven't used it in a while, but I had it working. When I had mine, it actually worked really well in Lightburn. But that's been a while ago. I'm sure they've dropped several updates since then. I know Lightburn's been updated since then.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, once again, I think getting caught up. Getting close to the end of our 2 hours. So if you have a question, comment, or anything else, drop it in there. We have fun with these. We like this is kind of our whole, if you're new here, this is kind of what we do is we don't have a script. We don't have much of a plan other than some updates. We like to hang out and answer questions and talk about topics and things that the audience brings up and have a good back and forth. Here's one we missed. Mike Thompson, have either of you all used or any thoughts on the Elbows 4-chamber dryer that sits on top of the P1 bamboo lap printer? So I got the Sunlu one that came out. Well, they promoted it with a few channels, I think, in late spring, and then pre-orders it took a few months, but I got mine in of that. And I do like the fact that I can have the filament in there. I'll fire up the dryer and let it run for a bit before I print. But I believe the one you're talking about has individual controls and maybe individual chambers for the 4 different filaments. So it's a little more advanced. I haven't looked too closely at it, but I think I've seen it. And so definitely, and that's one thing I've thought about is that sometimes I'll have PLA and PETG in there, and there's not a huge difference. It's not really going to harm either one running at the settings for the other, but It is nice when you can kind of individually do that, and anything that the container will do to more seal it against your normal air. You know, most households are running 40 to 50%, hopefully, and not too much higher, but even that can be too much humidity for some filaments. Yeah. So I don't know. From what I remember, it looks really cool. Like it has the individual control settings and whatnot, but I haven't looked much at like the price or anything. You know, the Sunlu one was like 110 or 120, and you know, that was on top of the others, but if you look at a four place dryer anyway, I mean, that's kind of the price point you're in. So
Yeah, I've got the little Creality one.
I've got the two spool Creality.
It wasn't very expensive.
I mean, I think it's like 70 to 80 bucks for the two spool Creality, which is nice. I've got an even cheaper one. I can't remember who it's from, but the controls on it are just horrible, and so I don't use it too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're going to be doing 3D printing, you're going to want to get some sort of filament dryer.
Yep, looks like the comments or questions have died down, but yeah. So yeah, if you are new, make sure you hit those subscribe buttons. Steve, you finally made it to, you made it and then you didn't make it, right? Like you made it and then it got retracted, and then you made it again and it got retracted again.
I don't know what it is about Sundays, but they tend to be a roller coaster day for subscribers. But yeah,
you're at 24.
I just rolled over 24,000, and I put a post out there and I shared it with David, and then I go and refresh for the stream. I'm like, oh, I was at 23,998 again. But yeah, it's back up over 24,000.
YouTube giveth and YouTube taketh away.
So yeah, thanks everybody for your support there. I'm well on track. I'm pretty sure, unless YouTube falls off the face of the planet, I'm going to hit 25K by the end of the year. I'm hoping maybe even by Christmas. So it's been kind of just my soft goal for the year, knowing that I was a little bit busier, wasn't going to be able to put out as much content or as regular through part of the year, but trying to get that push here now. And it's it doesn't really mean anything other than another number, but you know, it's always good to just kind of have those goals to work towards. It's a bit of a motivator. So
yeah, it's kind of like a milepost when you're on the interstate.
Yeah.
You know? It's just
well, and this one's, you know, a quarter of the way there to the 100K, which is like the first official plaque thing that they recognize you for. So
yeah. Well, I don't think I'll be making 50 this year. That would be nice, but I just don't see it happening. So I'm just kind of hanging out. I can't get into my studio account hardly right now anyway, and YouTube didn't really help a whole lot with that. So, but yeah. So if you haven't liked Steve's channel, go subscribe to it. If you have, you know, feel free to bring it back out again.
That the way you said that, if you haven't liked my channel, as in like they're disliking, I do have some sort of like it's like clockwork. I put out a video and within the first 2 or 3 hours, there's a dislike. I think there's just someone I made mad, and they wait for me to drop
I think there's some people that just like wake up every day and they either subscribe or unsubscribe, whichever way. Like it's just like because I'll do the same thing. I'll hit that refresh button and be like, I lost 3. What the heck? It's just like I'm not supposed to be gaining them. But yeah.
But anyway,
I don't know if they're talking to you or talking to me, but we'll see.
Well,
Mild 3D says, I think you'll reach it this year. Well, hopefully you will. Like I said, the yours is definitely a goal that could be accomplished. Mine, probably not. I don't see me hitting 50 by the New Year's. If I could hit 50K by New Year's, though, that'd be pretty awesome because I'd be at that halfway mark. But I mean, it'd have to be a couple of really good months to get me there.
Well, these usually are the better months for views and subscribers and such. But yeah, YouTube's been kind of slow across the board for people, and so we just kind of continue plugging along. We appreciate everybody, hanging out with us and watching videos, hitting those like buttons, and using those shopping links when you can. I personally try to make as much of my stuff open and free and available to people as can. I don't want to milk you guys for everything I can. I want to get information out there, and the fact that I can get a little bit something back through YouTube ads and affiliate links, that's, that helps me out.
Yeah.
But I'm still retirement's a long way out for me, unfortunately. So, I don't have to 100% depend on this. It definitely helps. I just got the renewal bill for car insurance, and having 2.5 teenage to young 20 male drivers on there.
Yeah.
That's not cheap.
Well, luckily, like I said, this is my full-time gig now. So I've had a little bit more time to do things for the channel and so forth. I still, no matter, and this is where I kind of want to make sure I don't want to go the way of a lot of guys, because I see a lot of guys out there that, start out and you see their channels and they come up and they're doing what we do. And then when they decide to go full time and do it, they kind of succumb to the pressures of, okay, now it's a business and I've got to do it different. And then when the money's not coming in like they think it should, they start getting more and more commercialized, and to the point to where, like, every sentence is either buy this or, send me money on that or whatever. And it's no fault of their own. It doesn't make them bad people. But when that's, when you've jumped into this, maybe a little early, maybe things weren't quite right, or either the market turned on you all of a sudden without announcing it to you. It creates stresses. Cause like I said, right now, I have a retirement income. So that's something a lot of guys don't have when they decide to go full time doing this. And so, I'm not trying to judge folks, but at the same time, I could see to where if I didn't have any other income coming in, it would be a lot more stressful trying to turn a profit doing this, because it's not always like it comes in waves. I've seen that already in the last 3 years. Some years are better than others. Some months are better than others. Sometimes day to day, it's like a total polar swing. So I want to try to make sure now that I'm full time, I don't want to put so much stress on myself to where I just go completely, overproduction and commercial and being something that I'm not. Because I see a lot of guys that end up, that think they're improving their channel because they're listening to the gurus and stuff, but they're actually hurting their channels. And I don't want to do that. And that's what me and Steve talk about a lot of times. I mean, sometimes what one person says is something that I'm doing wrong is the thing that you guys like. You know what I mean? Oh, you should always record in 4K and have like 3 different camera angles during a video. And then you talk to you guys and you guys are like, no, I don't like that stuff. And so I want to try to stay with what you guys want to see, what I want to make, because I have learned that if you don't enjoy the videos you're making, your videos are going to suck. Because me and Steve both have had to power through some videos that we just didn't like. And it always, you can see it in the video. Like, you guys are like, yeah, you didn't like that one, did you? So I want to have fun and work and make a little bit of money and keep this thing going. Because I'm going to be honest with you, it's like 40 something degrees outside. And the fact that it's down to 70 in here now, but the fact that I actually have somewhat climate control in here is a far cry from when I first started. So I need a new, better insulated building though. I'm wanting to start on a building fund.
My shop's climate controlled. Whatever the climate is, that's what it is.
Yeah, the climate controls the temperature.
Dana Stratton was asking about making a homemade enclosure and looking for safety acrylic. I'm dropping a link into JTech Photonics. They're the ones that both Clack and I have used. This isn't an affiliate link or anything. It's just they are kind of the affordable supplier for them. They have a few different sizes. I don't remember which one I linked to, but that's the 12 by 12. They have a 12 by 24 as well. But that is the place I've used with most of mine. As far as diodes. Now, that's not for CO2. A CO2 will actually cut that acrylic. So,
yeah. Yeah, Papa. My thing is when I see those cameras where the camera's like over here and the person's talking that, well, I'm like, you're not even looking at me. You're talking to me. You're not even looking at me. You know, because I grew up in the age of, boy, you better look at me when you're talking to me. You know what I mean? That's where I grew up. But yeah, it's different. It's different strokes for different folks, I guess. Somebody was asking the difference between the 4040 Pro and the 4040 Pro Max. The biggest difference is the gantry and the Z axis is a lot beefier on the Pro Max. I think you can actually, if you have the 4040 Pro, you can buy the upgraded gantry and the upgraded
Yeah.
Z.
Yeah. Well, and also the Pro Max comes with the 710 watt,
Yeah,
basically a trim router spindle, but it's much nicer spindle. So chances are, if you're serious about it and you're looking at those machines, unless money's absolutely that tight, I would probably jump at the Pro Max. Just you're going to want those anyway. It's going to allow you to drive at better speeds. You're going to be able to work with bigger, most 1/4 inch bits are going to work well for you as well. So
yeah. If you can muster it, if you got the wiggle room in the budget, definitely, given the choice between the two, go with the Pro Max. It's better to be too sturdier than you need than to not be sturdy enough. Because even if
yep.
you're planning on doing like you, even if you're sitting there going, well, I'm never going to use, I'm never going to be cutting 1/2 inch oak. Sure as you don't get it, you'll be cutting 1/2 inch oak. So if you can swing it in the budget, I would recommend go ahead and getting the Pro Max.
Thomas Russell is saying, planning to get a CNC or 3D printer within the next 6 months. My main concern is not being able to use the software effectively. Any recommendations on which to use or stay away from? It depends on what you're looking at. So there's the 3D modeling software that could be used by either one, or there's like more of the control software. If you're looking at a 3D printer and you're a beginner to it, both of us really recommend the Bamboo Labs line. There are some caveats to them as far as more, if you're wanting to not be connected to the internet the whole time, or you want to tinker and play, they kind of lock theirs down a lot more. But if you stick with their studio software and you don't mind having it be, cloud connected and whatnot, it makes it very simple and easy to kind of get started and have successes. Now, as far as the CNC router, that is a little bit more of a Wild West circus out there as far as what's going to work for you. There's a couple different things you have. You have your CAD software that's going to be developing files and, so taking a drawing or drawing your own stuff. And then there's the CAM software, which actually sets up those files to cut on the machine, which then will create, generally it's G code that goes to the machine. There are some kind of all-in-one-ish kind of things. Fusion is one that'll let you design and export to the machine. Whereas some of the others are you got to do one in one and one in the other. I personally, with the CNC machine, have used Vectric VCarve for a long time. It is an upfront cost to purchase it, but it is kind of mainstream for CNCs. It's a lot like getting Lightburn for lasers, and the fact that there's a lot of options, there's a lot of tools, but there's also a lot of videos and a lot of support out there for it. The real easy way to get into CNCs would be easel, and I've done a video on that with using the 4040. I'm actually working on one for the Cubico. It will get you started. It will hold your hand, but again, it is kind of limited in some of its features and such. Carveco is another really good one. It's kind of bridges between the two, but both Carveco and easel are subscription based. So you're going to kind of pay monthly or annually and such on it. As far as control software, though, if you're getting more of the hobby grade GRBL type devices like the 4040 Pro Max, the Masuder, the Atom Stack machine, and whatnot, there are some free softwares out there. The one that Clack and I like the most is the G-Sender from CNC Labs. That works very well if you're into a more of a higher end machine. Some of them, like the Onefinity, comes with its own controller and software to run it. Others you have to get like Mach 3, Mach 4, Linux CNC, things like that. So there's a lot of things out there. that you just kind of have to pick what your design software is first, and then you can kind of see what the machine control software is going to work with the actual machine you get.
Yeah, if you're brand new to CNC and you've never touched one before, Easel's monthly subscription's not a bad way to start because it's low point of entry as far as the money, and it does kind of hold your hand and walk you through the process. And then that's what I did. I started with Easel, and like it does a lot of hand holding as far as bits and feeds and all the different things. And then I graduated up into Vectric. And with my Shapoko, I can use their software, but I had already learned Vectric when I got my Shapoko, and so I've just kind of stuck with Vectric throughout. I do use Carbide 3D software to run the machine, but it's because their software is fairly intuitive. It has all the things that I need, and it's built to operate with the bit setter and everything straight out of the box, no guesswork. And I don't have any complaints with their control software. So, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad a few of the guys agree with me on the camera thing because it bothers me, and I know there's some kid somewhere at a college that's teaching it and says that you got to do it, but it really does distract me and give me a headache when I'm trying to watch a video. A lot of times, it's not for everybody, you know.
Well, I know as you get older,
your eyes don't focus as much.
Yeah, your eyes have a harder time changing their focal distance, and I think even though the screen isn't changing its distance, it should still be that somewhat, I think, mimics that, and it throws it for a little bit of a you know.
Yeah, us, and we're all set in our ways, and that ain't the way TV was done. You know what I mean?
And I'm not trying to be a TV channel here, you know.
No, I'm talking about our brains when we watch things on a screen. Our brains, through years of watching things on a screen, our brains have gotten accustomed to a certain format, and sure. I think that affects it too.
But
depending on your age.
What I was trying to say is, I'm not trying to be a produced TV channel here. I'm trying to, be the, I'm talking to you. I'm moving the camera to show you what I'm trying to show you. But I'll be honest. I love doing this, but the production and the editing side, man, if I could afford an editor kind of thing, just so that I could keep just creating rather than okay, now I got to sit down and okay, let's
it's enough without having to like take 3 different cameras and like slice it all together and
I mean,
and that's one thing too. I see a lot of guys that are like, oh yeah, I had to hire me a cameraman, and I'm like, my cameraman's a tripod, you know what I mean? And then I got this. Now I did spring for this thing. This is handy. That way I can start and stop the record, right here. But I can't afford a cameraman. I'm doing good to pay my bills. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I start paying a cameraman, now I got to make twice as much money to try to keep the lights on. So I don't need that stress in my life. I'm retired. I'm on a fixed income now.
Yeah.
Oh, but I love it. I enjoy it. And I've got some stuff coming up this week, guys. It's been, like I said, I've been trying to kind of halfway take the weekends off. So I don't want to burn myself out by being out here all the time. But at the same time, it is that time of the year with a big buildup coming. Plus, people sent me a whole bunch of stuff. Like Adam Stack kind of slammed me and Steve both with the Glacier, the Atelier, and the C4, like bam, 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 which I'm not going to let that happen again. That was a little much. But trying to get caught up. I've still got the video for I'm going to do a quick once over for the Omni X 10-watt upgrade. We're not reinventing the machine. We just gave it a power boost. And then I've got a couple of projects that I want to do. I bought some materials from Amazon that I'm going to try to make into a project, nice little cool decorative project. And I got the Reno. I'm still testing the Reno. Like I said, I ran it a lot past few days, playing around with it. I do want to change the air assist out, but so far, for a 45-watt CO2 machine at its price point, I think it's it's a decent little setup. So we'll see.
Cool.
What you got coming this week? I know you got that 6-foot project you're going to be doing, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to finish up kind of my initial video on the X-Tool P3. I've been doing some aviation related projects through my review to kind of keep it interesting for me and break it up. And that's one thing that I've found I've had to do recently is that, you know, when you're looking at machines and you kind of just end up running the same test over and over to do things, it's like I'm getting bored. So I want to try to mix it up with. I'm trying to mix my machine kind of review type things in with more project kind of stuff to be maybe hopefully a little more appealing to stuff. But yeah, I've got that going, and I'm trying to finish a couple of other larger projects with this 20-watt IR module on the Sculpt Fun. I really need to get that out and done to kind of move that on. And then I've got some other stuff in the works. I've got a couple of hopefully fun project kind of things that I can get done. I've got some honeydew lists to do.
Well, look at that. I got to go out there. Matter of fact, I got to go out there tonight and make sure all my spigots are properly drained.
And for fun, this is the start of another 3D printing project here. So this is using the AMS for some multicolor stuff. But hopefully I'll have this finished tomorrow.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was going to see how many of these I could print out and start just hanging them with some fishing line from the ceiling grid in my office and see how long it takes facilities to say, okay, you need to stop that. Anyway.
All right. Yeah, see there? Yeah, I've been doing chores, guys. Laundry, making up beds, dishes. Well, the robot does the sweeping and vacuuming, and the robot cuts most of the grass. But there's the other things around the house. Trash doesn't just walk itself outside. Although I did find that they're coming out with a robot that might be able to do those things for me. So I'm going to be keeping my eye out for that. I've heard there may be some coming. So I would really like one. So if anybody's watching and wants to send me one of those like little assistant robots that like can help you take the trash out and stuff, we might need to talk.
I'm thinking you're going to have to start changing your theme music to the Jetsons.
Hey, anything makes my job better for me. I could have used some lifting assistance today. So a little assistant to hold the ladder for me while I was hanging the laser up. I mean, I've got work for it.
So, Mark, this file's out on Maker World through Bamboo. So I can't remember the exact name of it, but I'll probably post a photo of this on my Facebook thing, and I'll link the file there tomorrow. So, anyway, right. Well, we've gone over a good 17, 18 minutes. So,
yes, sir. Well, y'all have a good one. Appreciate you guys, and thanks for coming and hanging out with us. And we will we'll see y'all again next Sunday, if not before then.
Next Sunday, yeah. See y'all
later.